Hi guys, this is Jamie from My Starless Sky, and today I've got a video for you about Sword Art Online. I figured since the new, SAO alternative came out, that be a good time to talk about it. Now, I'm assuming everyone here has seen Mother's Basement's videos basically tearing the series apart, and I like Jeff, he's funny, he's got a lot of good points, but I'm going to refute a few of them because I've read the light novels, and a lot of the stuff that he is talking about is either directly addressed or like hinted at. So let's jump right into it. And so the first thing I want to say is tentacle rape, bro. If you think that the little scene with Silica or the scene with Asuna in the Fairy Dance arc, if you think that that is tentacle rape, bro, then I'm going to have to revoke your anime Pope card because that is nothing. I have seen some shit in my days, and that is not even close to tentacle rape. Okay, so continuing with the real stuff here. So he likes to talk about Yui and how Yui destroyed all of the dramatic stakes or something. Now, my first point of that is Yui's not alive. She's an AI that he, and Jeff specifically mentioned this. She's not alive. So she can't die. Like, that is, like, not even, I don't understand. So, yeah, the whole him hacking her into a in-game item is pretty stupid, and like blah blah blah, all that. But the purpose of that scene was not to redefine the stakes or whatever he said it was supposed to be. Do you remember at the end when Kayaba is talking about how Kirito showed him that the power of the human will is superior to that of the system? Well, it was a little bit ham-fisted, I'll give you, but him hacking the system to save Yui is supposed to represent that. It has really nothing to do with the dramatic stakes of people dying. It has more to do with Kirito having like an emotional attachment to this little AI and using his will, or whatever, hacking skills, whatever, he is able to at least, meet in the middle and not have her die and get deleted or whatever. So the next thing I want to talk about is that he likes to say that the stakes the dramatic stakes are messed up because of Yui. And before that, they had killed a couple characters, and he said it give you this feeling about how anyone could die at any moment except maybe Kirito, but he's protagonist-kun, right? So he ain't gonna die anyway. But in the light novels, the order of SAO is completely different. First of all, it doesn't even start on episode 1 like the way we think it is. It starts with the Ragu Rabbit date or whatever with him and Asuna, and on his way to go get the rabbit appraised at Aegil's, he flashes back to episode 1 and kind of sets up the story that way. So after that, they go on their little date, and then after that, the Kurdeal thing happens, and then they go on vacation and the little fishing arc there, and then the Yui stuff happens. So at this point in the story, with the exception of Kurdeal, nobody has actually died. So there is no stakes to begin with. Now, after the Yui stuff, that's when they go to the boss, and then they escape the game, blah blah blah. But the point is that all the stuff with like Silica and the Dragon Feather, that has nothing to do with Yui coming back, because it happened, like, it was written after. It happened before, but it was written later in the previous, like, in that time gap between episode 1 and where the story started. So the dragon feather has nothing to do with it, and like I don't even know. Like basically the murder mystery and the boss, the floor one boss, and also the thing with, oh well, I said silica, but also the thing with Liz, that didn't happen until like later, or that wasn't written until later. So that has its own stakes, and that book that has all those stories in it is called SAO side stories. They're not even really related to the main narrative. So, I mean, really, that comes on to the producers of the anime for screwing up the order and trying to create something that wasn't really there to begin with. But, you know, Jeff likes to throw a lot of shade at Reki, and it's not his fault. He didn't tell the anime crew to take his story and mix it all around to be chronological. And I mean, Reki even says that, you know, the first Aincrad arc is not great, but I'm just saying, I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is. And, like, you know, I got a little bit of nostalgic soft spot for it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's good by any means. You know, it's not no Steins Gate, but you know, it's passable. It's a good beginner anime because after you watch it, then when you watch good anime, you know what good anime is because it's not Sword Art Online. So now I want to present a little bit of a theory. Because remember that stupid part in the murder mystery arc where Griselda, at the very end, Griselda's ghost actually Griselda's ghost comes. And it's supposed to be framed as like a romantic moment, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's funny because in SAO Abridged, they get scared and throw their swords at it and run away. So that's pretty funny. But basically, that leads me to believe, unless it's just completely unrelated, it leads me to believe that there's something else going on there. Now, my second piece of evidence for this is the revival item in Sachi's arc, where it has a 10-second time limit. So if the nerve gear kills you as soon as you die, how is the item going to revive you in 10 seconds? That doesn't make sense. So the theory that I am presenting is that Kayaba's castle in the sky, or whatever he calls it, he succeeded. And he has this, let's call it a server, I guess. And everyone that dies in SAO, the nerve gear does fry their brains and their bodies and stuff, but similar to what he did, he's actually basically sucking their consciousness out of their body and transporting them to this virtual world that he can still be the king of. So even though he lost Sword Art Online, like, you know, at the end or whatever, he still is victorious in the end. Now, another way that this is like relevant is like with obviously Griselda's ghost, but also Yuki. Now, even though she didn't die from SAO with the brain scan thingy, she still came back in the movie, and I don't know if the movie's necessarily canon, but even if it's not, that could kind of play into it a little bit, where she's in the other world, so she was able to come back for just a moment. Or, you know, honestly, I kind of just thought, I didn't even think she was there. I thought that was just like a artistic representation of Asuna using the sword skill. But either way, let me just look at my notes here for a second. So the rest of this theory is that it kind of has to do with Jeff as well, is that he says that death in the narrative is ruined or whatever. So here's how to fix it. Assuming that my theory is right and Kayaba has this other world going on with all the people who died in SAO living in it, kind of like a a utopia type of thing, or a heaven, whatever you want to call it. What you could do is you could have an arc there where Kirito dies, right? And his consciousness gets transported there. and maybe they put his body on ice or something, and keep him around. He's Jesus-kun, right? He can do whatever he wants. So he goes there, right, and he sees Sachi, and he apologizes, blah blah blah, this and that. And she says, "Oh, I don't blame you. I've been living here and it's fine, having a good time." So then after that, you throw a antagonist at him, and then Sachi dies again. That would, I think, destroy Kirito again. Although this time you have to make it actually his fault. Like the other time, he thought it was his fault, but he was just being emo. Like this time, you have to actually make it his fault. So, a couple other things I wanted to talk about was the Jeff was talking about the unlimited skills. Now, there's not any in the light novel. They say that the regular skills are unlimited, but the unique skills, like how Kirito and Kayaba have, those there are only 10, I think, maybe 12. There's a certain amount of those, so they're special. And like he said, they're like a badge of honor. Only certain characters or certain players can get them because they do certain prerequisites that are not, listed in the guide or whatever. So now the another stupid thing that Jeff likes to say about is the random generation. How come everybody, if in an MMO where customization is key, why are characters randomly generated? That makes no sense. And he's right. That's a little bit stupid. But also at the same time, he said, oh, why does Kirito still look the same? Well, Kirito is the only one that uses his original nerve gear. Now, in the beginning of SAO, when in the very first episode, they do the body pat down thing, and it makes it so that his face, his dimensions, his body type, blah blah blah, all that stuff is saved to the nerve gear, and that's why his avatar looks like he does in real life. So when he goes into Alfheim and his character is randomly generated, it's randomly generated off of those specs. So even though, his character looks a little bit different, it still looks like Kirito mostly because, he's basically got a preset on his nerve gear saved, and he's the only one that's using his nerve gear. Asuna's got the Atmosphere because they switched her. That's kind of a plot hole, huh? In the Fairy Dance arc. I thought no, maybe she does have the nerve gear. I forget. I guess I'm thinking of SAO 2, where she has the Atmosphere. But anyway, everybody else uses the Atmosphere, so Kirito uses his nerve gear, and that's why his character doesn't. It randomly generates a little bit, but it's still Kirito. So, I think that's it for now. I'll come back to this topic again. Obviously, I love SAO. I know, there's a lot of better animes out there, but there's a lot of worse animes out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me ramble about it for a little while. Jeff, I like the stuff you do, and if you see this, I'd like to hear a comment from you. And so with that, I'll leave off the video and smash that like button if you liked it. Smash the dislike, I guess, if you didn't, and ring that bell, subscribe, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So yeah, MSS out.